Hey everybody, welcome to Etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Holland Destination 4 bike rack here on our 2020 Chevy Equinox. So this can be a very decent way, guys, of getting a lot of bikes to that trailhead. Now bear with me, I know it's not the prettiest looking bike rack out there, but I think you guys are going to be a way bigger fan, just like I have become, once you see how well of a job it does of securing our bikes. So a couple little things to note with this guy. We are going to have a 35-pound weight capacity for all of our bikes. So kind of keep your bikes in mind when you guys are going through all these bike racks. If you guys are starting to get those bigger mountain bikes, this probably isn't going to be the one for you. But if you guys do find yourself on kind of your standard smaller mountain bikes, of course, road bikes, this is excellent for. And primarily, I think a lot of people with kind of varying bikes are really going to like this bike rack because we have a lot of versatility to go ahead and start adhering to a lot of different types of bikes. And to that end, what kind of bikes can we get on here? Well, we actually can't get carbon frame bikes on here because we do have frame contact here with our center mass. So you guys can see we have this little cradle here that's holding on to that center frame, and therefore that can end up warping it and deteriorating your carbon frame bikes. But one thing I really like about it, if you do have any women's bikes, kids bikes, or step-through bikes, what's nice about this cradle here is it's very, very versatile. So speaking of that versatility, you guys can see we have a 360 degrees rotation available for ourselves. So we do have a vertical, diagonal, or horizontal frame. We're going to be a-okay to actually latch onto there. And what I really love is this varying height as well. So those step-through bikes, even if we only have that lower frame to grab onto, we can do that. And those BMXers, right, as they're lower, we're going to have this sliding capability of adhering to almost any bike. On the end here, too, we are seeing little reflectors. I really love these guys. Just nice. That way, when somebody's behind us, they actually can see our rack, especially being all black, right? Maybe we're getting home late after a long drive or a late ride. Just nice that we can go ahead, get a little bit of securance that people aren't going to, not see us. And that way, everybody can get it home safe, which is excellent. Now, taking a look here at our cradles here on the end, you guys can see we just have that little 18C standard groove running through. Not going to be great for your fat bike tires, as your strap is going to be just a little limiting here. And that strap is transposable as well. All we have to do, back off that knob a little bit, then I can actually put it to this position. Now, it's nice that I have that versatility, but I don't really see a lot of us utilizing it that much, unless, of course, you have your smaller wheelbases. So maybe a kid's bike, or again, those BMXers, is going to be nice to swap that down a little bit, just to go ahead and adhere onto our tires. And we also do have that nice little rubber topper there, making sure we don't have any damage done to our rims. And I really like these open holes. Makes it a lot easier to pull that strap down, make sure it's nice and tight, and that way our bike is held onto our carrier, which is excellent. So pretty straightforward with this guy. Again, nice when we get those 4 bikes. I really like that versatility, and it really doesn't take me too long to get the bike off. Before we do that, though, let's go ahead and see how it's interacting with the back of our vehicle here. So you guys can see here, we do have our taillights starting to get covered up, and with that, as you load up 4 bikes on here, you're going to start having a little bit of an issue. So keep that in mind. We do have very good distance here between our first bike and that light, though. So I think we're going to have good admittance, which is great. And of course, you do have top calling here, so it's not going to be the end of the world. Now, to remove our bike, all we need to do is come up to our lever system here, pressing in on our straps. I like to remove both of my bikes before I do so. And then, of course, we can go to the other side. Sorry, I meant to say remove both of our straps, just like that. That's going to bring me to my last point of contact here on my bike. All I need to do, I like to kind of wrap my hand around here, push on that other side, and then pull that strap out. That way, I have good contact with my bike, and I know it's not going to be tilting into my vehicle to cause any damage. With that removed, though, all I have to do is grab it, and just like that, we're ready to ride. So let me set this off to the side. Before we can see, though, this is definitely going to be adding just a little bit of length to our vehicle. So we definitely want to keep that in mind. But the big thing that we're going to have to watch out for here is going to be our clearance. So what do I mean by that? That's basically going to be that distance from the bottom here to the ground. So I'm going to take my handy dandy tape measure here, measure from the ground to the end of our carrier, and that's putting us right under 17, so about 16 3/4 of an inch to the very end of our carrier. Now, you guys might have noticed we have that pretty nice rise there in our carrier, doing a good job of making sure we're not having any contact here with the ground. Now, I will say that 16.5 is just a little troublesome, only if we do find ourselves kind of approaching a very steep incline. Keep in mind, as those front wheels go up, the back will go down, and so will your hitch-mounted accessories. So just watch it a little bit if you guys do experience a bit of an incline. Now, the other measurement we do need to keep in mind is going to be the length of our vehicle. To take that, all I need to do, grab from here, Taking from the back of the bumper to the very end of my carrier, that's putting me right under 38 inches there, about 37 3/4 of an inch. Now, before I fold this up, I did want to give you guys the ability, or show you how you have the ability to actually open up your hatch. To do that, we're going to need to drop this center mass, though it is kind of hanging right in our way. We're going to have a little knob here, and all I have to do, back that off lefty-loosey. That's going to let me take this cantilever out, put that to the side, drop down my center mass, and now I can come up to the back of my hatch of my Equinox, pop it open, and now I have access to the back here. So bike helmets, coolers, anything else we might need, I have that nice access to, which is great. So really doesn't take too long to get that in. Of course, you are going to have to kind of keep your bikes out of the way. So that is the one caveat with these guys. If you're looking for something for some quick access, you're going to have to start looking at those premium bike carriers, and we are talking a pretty big jump in price. So I know that is kind of a con, but you know, we take it with a grain of salt. What I like to do in this position as well, guys, take our extra strap here, simply slot that through the bottom of our mast. That way I can secure it down. And as I go to fold this guy up here in just a second, it won't be bouncing around. It'll stay nice and attached to our carrier. Talking about folding this up, we definitely want to, you know, reduce the length that we have here on the back of our vehicle, especially if we want to pull in the garage. To do that, we're going to bring ourselves right here to this little clip, which is supposedly missing, but there is one there here, guys. All we got to do, pop that retaining clip. Then we can back off this knob. It's actually a pretty decent knob, which is nice. Good contact points, easy to actually open up. And simply walk our carrier up. Now we're not going to go all the way. There is kind of just like this weird middle point you need to find. But once we found that, we can simply slot it right back in and to begin to tighten it up. What I really love about this guy is that it tightens it up really, really well and secures it. And we don't really have a lot of rattle in this position, which is excellent to see. So love that. We're not going to be hearing it. It's not going to be making a bunch of noise in the back. Let's go ahead and see how much length we actually shaved down now, though, with that maneuver. From the back of the bumper now to the end of our carrier, that looks to be our wings here on the side. And that's going to put us right over maybe 12 inches. So maybe 12 1/4 there. Really not adding too much room here on our Equinox, which I do love to see. Now we can pull this in the garage, or at the very least, give ourselves some maneuverability. We will want to park it. Well, let's bring ourselves down to the bottom here of our carrier and see what we're working with here on the inside. We do have a 2-inch shank here today, and that's going to be held in by our 2-inch hinge receiver, of course. On the inside of that, though, you are seeing a threaded anti-rattle bolt. Now, these guys are pretty standard across the industry. You love to see them, though. They're basically taking all that shake and play that we're going to have in our vehicle and eliminating it, which is excellent. I am going to shake the shank here in just a second. You guys can take a look here at the vehicle moving itself in line with that carrier, which is excellent. That means we've taken all that shake and play out, making for a nicer, smoother ride for ourselves, our bike racks, and especially our bikes. On the inside of that, though, you are seeing a locking core as well. And I love those extra keys. I don't know if you guys are like me, a little forgetful. Always nice to have a spare. That way, our bike carrier stays attached to our vehicle when we leave it unattended. Well, honestly, guys, the Holland racks I'm a really big fan of. I know it's not the prettiest looking rack out there, but I really love how I have 4 bikes that can come with me to the trail. It's very, very versatile. It doesn't weigh too much either. You know, that is kind of why it's nice that it's plastic, fantastic. Not going to be too hard to load up. And honestly, I think it's just a great way to make sure that you have all the bikes you want at your trailhead. Otherwise, guys, I think that about does it for our look here today at the Holland Rack's Destination 4 bike rack carrier on our 2020 Chevy Equinox. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.
Now we're going to go ahead and take it on our test course. First, we'll start with the Slaloms. This is going to show the side-to-side action. It's kind of going to mimic the movements that you'll see whenever you're driving down the road normally. Now we'll have the alternating speed bumps. This is going to be more so like the uneven roads and some of that uneven terrain you might be traveling on, and see how it holds up.